Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Law & Order Legacies. With any luck we'll be done with this game, so let's run forward in this court case and see if we can win. We're up by 40 points.
Mr. Bedford, may I call you Franklin?
Yeah, Mr. Bedford is my father.
This is quite an
That's a
accusation.
terrible writing.
Against your own father even. Tell us, do you have any proof?
I will admit there are some many
for?
instances of terrible writing, but it's not consistently awful. Would I like to object? Yes, asked and answered.
Asked and answered.
Sustained.
You testified a lot about your father's state of mind.
Testimony is
also
proof.
Said that you don't have a very close relationship with him.
Wait a minute, I said it wasn't good. I never said it wasn't close. Too close for comfort, if you ask me.
Noted. When was the last time you spoke to your father?
Well, we met. It was right when he had his heart attack. I was the one who took him to the hospital.
Oh, so if you thought he was guilty, why not let him die right there? You were eager enough to kill him later.
Good point.
I guess I felt guilty.
You did? Why?
I might very well have caused it. The heart attack. We argued. See, I accused him and it was intense.
What kind of son are you anyway? Scruffy-looking hippie attacking your father in his old age like that?
Objection.
Objection.
I wish I just had a button where I could object halfway through the conversation.
Your Honor, this is off-the-charts badgering right here.
Agreed. Mr. Vance, keep it civil.
Sorry, Your Honor. There's just nothing worse than an ungrateful son.
Although this is a criminal case, not a civil case, but that's just a... I think that's probably what they were thinking there, is to imply a joke. What did he just last say? I wasn't paying attention. There's just nothing worse than an ungrateful son. Should I object?
Objection.
No, I'll just withdraw that one.
Hey, screw you, Vance. Sorry, Your Honor.
Let's talk about
Oh, I guess that was badgering
Back
again.
to the time of the murder. You say your father was angry with your brother, and so he killed him. Interesting theory, but who else was angry with Harrison?
I don't follow you.
Didn't you have a crush on Allison Conway? Weren't you jealous of your brother?
Yes, but no. You're twisting it.
You loved Allison Conway, and you killed your own brother in a jealous rage.
Objection. Badgering.
Defense is badgering the witness.
Overruled.
Tell us, Franklin.
Oh,
weren't
no.
you jealous enough of your brother to kill him?
I'm going to say no to this
I did not kill
objection.
my brother. I loved him. I idolized him. I wanted Allison, sure, but I would never have hurt Harrison to have her.
So you had a problem with Harrison's relationship, but not enough to resort to murder.
Yes, that's right.
Seems reasonable. And I imagine your father would probably say the exact same thing. No further questions.
Here's the thing, is some of these objections need to, if this game was better written, which honestly, if this same idea of a game was better written, it might work better. Honestly, I think that kind of is what happened in The Wolf Among Us, because The Wolf Among Us is just a better version of this game, isn't it? There's a whole court case at the end anyways. It's not a real court case, it's a fictional, magical court case, but it's basically the same thing. But you would think that some objections would probably cut off lines of dialogue that would help your case, and it doesn't happen that much, but it seems like it happens every now and then. Let's just get through this, though.
Mr. Trevino, you are here to tell the court about your association with the late Mr. Frank Vincenzo, and to testify to what he told you before he died.
She wouldn't be allowed to
Mr.
stand and
Vincenzo
block
knew
the
he was
door,
dying
by the
when
way.
He took you into his confidence, correct?
Yeah, he got diagnosed with terminal cancer.
Why is there
Only had a few
nobody
months
on the
left.
other side of the
Guess he needed to get some stuff off his chest.
the area?
Can you tell the court what you knew about
Look,
Frank Vincenzo
in the background,
Jr.?
nobody on the
Well,
left side.
He was a guy from the building, an older guy. My dad warned me never to cross him. I got the idea he was connected.
And then,
So
of
when we
course,
started
everybody on the
talking,
right side
told me
has their
what he did.
face blurred.
And what was that?
He was a hitman, Mr. Cutter.
And his weapon of choice?
Shotgun.
Correct? No. Let's see. His weapon of choice was the 9mm. Gotta pay attention.
You sure?
No, you're right, Mr. Cutter. It was a 9mm.
He gave you one of those weapons, didn't he?
That's correct.
And the weapon he gave you to help your father shoot Alexander Baran was the same weapon used to shoot Harrison Bedford in 1998.
Did he know that?
Did Mr. Vincenzo describe the crime to you?
Yeah, he told me how it happened. Tracked the kids through the park.
And what year was this?
1998.
Correct? I guess that's correct. He just said
The
1998.
year of the Central Park murder. And what time of day?
It was a weekend. Lunchtime, I think.
I have no idea. Like, if there was even an idea, a mention of when the killing happened, it was entire episodes ago. And the transcript has not stayed around, certainly. There's literally no way I could know this or look this up. I've just got to gamble. I suppose it's probably fine. We've got 3 strikes. But unless it was said during this interview and I've forgotten about it. And here I'm hearing some weird background noise, like people fiddling with a table or something. Yeah, nope, there's no evidence here. I'm gonna say no. Just be negative. There's more opportunities, more potential times that you could have been right if you say no versus yes. Franklin said it had been raining all day. No. Van Buren called 911 at 2 a.m. Video tagged Vanderhook showing the murder at night. Allison told Lenny Briscoe that she remembered the orange lamps of the Central Park being on. That was from like episode 2. Ridiculous. You would really have to work to get 100% on this game.
I remember now. It was late afternoon, around dark. Yeah.
He's not a very good witness. Doesn't remember things, hasn't been prepped.
Did Mr. Vincenzo describe any specifics of the crime? Anything to help authenticate his testimony?
Well, he shot the boy first, 2 times. The first hit him in the stomach, and then the second round went right through his heart. He said he made the girl lie down, face down, and then he shot her in the head, sort of from the side. He was real surprised she survived.
Is that consistent with the evidence? I'll say yes, but then I have to confirm it. Mentioned it during the interview. Let's see, Curtis told Benson at the hot dog stand. Fontana told Curtis at the precinct. Bankroll told Curtis and Benson at the Cafe Kim. Vincenzo's widow. I don't know who mentioned this. So I'm gonna go with the widow and just be wrong.
Allison Conway
Lose 20
shot in the
points.
head while lying prone on the ground. Crime scene analysts confirmed this, and most important, it was a detail the police kept out of the press.
That was a
Only
long
a
time
witness
ago.
could have known. Now, Mr. Trevino, the $64,000 question. Who hired Frank Vincenzo Jr. to kill Harrison Bedford?
Actually, you got your facts wrong, Mr. Cutter.
What?
Frankie told me he got hired to kill the girl, not the boyfriend.
So what happened?
The guy attacked Frankie, there was a fight, and both kids ended up shot.
And who hired him?
He told me it was Giles Bedford.
Hmm.
No, it's not true.
Thank you, Mr. Trevino.
Yeah, like I said, it went all wrong.
So we're ahead by 75. And we're going for the full conviction here. So
Mr. Trevino, let's start
maybe
with
we
something
won't do a
easy.
plea deal.
Please state your current address.
My address? You kidding me?
Objection.
Go on.
Objection.
I'm
Objection.
at Altona Correctional Facility.
So, you're in jail,
Objection.
Yes.
Relevance.
convicted of a felony?
Where's my
Yes.
objection button?
Objection! Defense is improperly introducing the witness's criminal history to impeach his credibility.
Under FRE 609A, it's allowed, Your Honor.
He's got you there, Mr. Cutter. Please continue.
Wow.
Did you take a deal in exchange for your testimony?
Yes.
I imagine the deal got sweeter the more you had to say about my client.
Well, I like to object.
Objection!
Speculant. Speculation. Relevance. Argumentative.
I didn't hear a question there, Your Honor.
Sustained.
I'll rephrase. Isn't it true your deal was contingent not just on your testimony, but the quality of that testimony?
What, you think the DA wants to hear me sit up here and talk about my cats? Of course my testimony has to be good.
Answer only the question I asked, Mr. Trevino.
Yes.
Isn't it true that in almost any other trial, this testimony would be considered hearsay and therefore completely inadmissible?
Object. Yes.
Objection!
No expert knowledge.
Mr. Trevino is not a lawyer. He isn't expected to know that, nor is it relevant.
I agree. Move on, Mr. Vance. Sustained.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, let me
I almost
categorize
enjoy
Mr.
these
Trevino's
sections.
testimony for you.
These are the
Story
fun part
told
of
by
the
a
game.
Convicted felon in exchange for reduced punishment.
But there's not enough of
Even
it.
if it's true, these are the words of a dying assassin, a man with no morals whatsoever. Why would any reasonable person ever rate this against the innocence of a man who has been a pillar of New York society for his entire life?
Objection.
Objection!
Let's see. Argumentative again.
Your Honor, Mr. Vance is arguing his case, not questioning the witness.
Sustained. Cut it out, counselor.
I have no further questions for this witness.
Objection. Badger. Yeah, if it was just a law, if the beginning of the game of each episode was, here's the facts of the case, here's what we found, maybe you do a hidden object search and do just one quick interview of each person and really snappily got into the court cases and had more of them, I could see an actual game here I'd want to play. It's just, it's not that way right now. It takes too long and it jumps around
The
way
people
too
rest their
much like
case,
the
Your
TV show does.
Very well. And Mr. Vance?
And now there are
Motion
people
to
on the
dismiss
left
charges
side.
against my client. The people have failed to adequately meet the burden of proof. The state must prove the critical facts of the case to the appropriate level of
Pretty much all
certainty.
lawyers
They
make
have not
motions
done
like
so.
this all the time.
I don't know. I heard some pretty good juice, Mr. Vance. I'm denying your motion. Call your witnesses.
We call Allison Conway to the stand. Miss Conway, can you describe your relationship with the defendant?
Yes, Giles, Mr. Bedford is the grandfather to my child.
I
His
guess.
son Harrison and I were involved in high school. And now, of course, he is the CEO of the corporation I work for.
How many years have you known him?
Since 1998,
In that time, have you ever seen him act violent or unpredictable? Miss Conway?
no, I never have.
Many people have said Mr. Bedford disapproved of the
Generally, you
relationship,
don't
but
wanna
you were from the wrong side of the
Attack
tracks.
people that are
This is
lying on
wrong.
the
It's been
stand
blown
until
out
you
of
have
proportion,
evidence
correct?
to prove that they're lying. You'd rather just give them enough rope to hang themselves.
Objection, Your Honor.
Leading.
The defense is leading Miss Conway through her testimony.
Sustained.
Can you describe how Mr. Bedford acted towards you and the baby after the murder?
He was nice. The whole family welcomed me and my son. He paid for my medical bills and schooling. He paid for everything. he got me this job. Told me I should work for him.
Miss Conway, is something wrong?
No, I'm fine.
So you think
Maybe
Mr.
this
Bedford
is
felt
out
kindly
of guilt
toward
he
you,
did these
maybe
things.
even like the daughter he never had.
Again, he's
Objection,
leading.
Your Honor.
Wait a minute. What did he just say? So you think Mr. Bedford felt kindly towards you, maybe even like the daughter he never had? Speculation.
Speculation. Miss Conway can't read Mr. Bedford's mind.
Sustained.
And in your opinion, did Mr. Bedford treat you like someone he was ashamed of or did not like?
No. No, quite the opposite. More like he owed me something.
No further questions. Thank you, Miss Conway.
Miss Carmichael, your witness.
Miss Conway has given multiple depositions regarding the facts of this case, and we have no further need to question her.
Seriously, you're gonna skip all of that? Just because the game is being lazy in programming and dialogue? There's questions that you could have asked her.
Dr. Markovich, how long have you been treating Giles Bedford?
I've been the family doctor for over 13 years.
And in that
That's
time, did you
too
treat him
convenient
with
a number.
Banaxolone?
Yes,
Should
I
have been
did.
like 18
Mr.
or
Bedford works in
20.
a very high-stress financial situation, and he wanted medication that would help him relax and be more effective.
Did you ever observe any
You know
side
what
effects?
this actually means is
No,
that
I
he
did
barely
not,
knew him a
nor
year
did he
before he gave
report
him the
Have any of
anxiety
your
drugs.
patients or any patients you've heard of ever reported side effects while on Banaxolone?
Would you like to object? No.
In the 13 years you have treated Mr. Bedford, have you ever seen him display aggressive or violent tendencies to anyone in his immediate family on medication or off it?
No, sir. No, I have not.
Ooh. And see, that case, that question was so short.
Dr. Markovich,
I can
how
just
long
go
have you
back
been
and do it
treating Giles
again.
Bedford?
I've been the family doctor.
And just skip
Yes,
the
I did.
dialogue
Did you ever
No, I
easily.
didn't.
have any of your
Should I object? I guess
Objection.
I should. Relevance,
Relevance.
I guess.
The medical histories of other patients are completely irrelevant. The doctor is testifying about Mr. Bedford.
Sustained.
In the 13 years you have treated Mr. Bedford, have you ever seen him display aggressive or violent tendencies to anyone in his immediate family on medication or off it?
But why would
No,
a
sir.
doctor
No, I
see
have not.
that? So we've hit a point where they're just being incredibly lazy. No line of dialogue or questions for Allison. Literally one question for the doctor.
Good afternoon, doctor.
It seems
I just have a
almost
few
like they're
questions for you
trying
today.
to
A few things to clear
limit
up.
your thing. The people on the left are gone again. By the way, man, this game can't keep simple things consistent. Like, oh, are we supposed to be animating people here or not? Why would half of a courtroom be empty? Even if there was nobody on the prosecutor's side, there's plenty of random people that you could spread out and have sit on that side. Let's see. Let's ask about the monitoring.
How often did you check in on Giles Bedford?
Every 180 days.
True, that's what he said.
So how can you say that you did or did not see any side effects? That's a half year of not seeing your patient. Anything could happen in that time. Read this disclaimer, please. It's the drug warning for Banaxolone.
This drug may make you dizzy or drowsy or cause blurred vision. Avoid alcoholic beverages. Older adults may be more sensitive to the side effects of this drug, especially loss of coordination and drowsiness. Banaxolone may cause symptoms including mental mood changes, sleep disturbance, increase in aggression, feelings of paranoia, or hallucinations.
And he was drinking
Increase
alcohol
in
with it.
aggression. You know that when you were treating Mr. Bedford?
I never knew Banaxolone had any side effects until I was called to testify for this trial.
That's not true. He told us directly. Which makes you kind of wonder
You
why he
told
keeps
detectives
gives
that
it to
you knew
him.
Banaxolone had, quote, some nasty
Maybe he
side
wasn't
effects.
going to give him
I did.
that drug.
Well, if they say so.
One final thing, Doctor. When detectives originally talked to you in Mr. Bedford's hospital room, you told them something very interesting.
I did?
Oh, yes. Do you remember what it was?
No.
I'll remind you. You told them when, exactly, Mr. Bedford discovered Allison Conway was pregnant. When you told him secretly.
Oh.
Remember when you said that was? Relative to the date of the murder?
Sometime after.
Nope. Sometime before. Simplistic choices there instead of a couple weeks before.
You told Giles Bedford that Allison was pregnant before the murder. Before. He knew about the secret pregnancy because you told him. And he was angry. You said so yourself.
Yes. Furious.
So furious, in fact, that he contacted Frank Vincenzo Jr. and arranged to have her shot dead. In cold blood.
Oh my God.
Objection, Your Honor.
Withdrawn. No further questions.
So, a little argumentative statement on my part, but it worked. So we'll continue.
Allison, what are you doing here?
I want to talk.
As long as the trial is still underway, I'm afraid there's not much I can say to you.
Fine, so I'll do the talking. There's something I've tried very hard to push down, to forget, but it's coming back. Mr. Bedford always told me the baby was a surprise to him. He never, ever mentioned he knew about it beforehand. So when you said the name, it didn't click before.
What name?
Frank Vincenzo Jr. Can you show me a picture of him?
They haven't shown her a picture of him? And he's just holding on to one?
Thank you.
Literally, that was all that
Your Honor,
scene was
the
for?
people call Allison Conway to the
You
stand
could have just shown
as
her
a
a picture
friendly witness.
on the court
Objection.
case.
What's going on here, Mike?
Both of you, approach.
Allison Conway recently had a breakthrough, and her memory is crucial to the people's case. We want to call her to testify.
I've had no warning of this.
She has additional evidence to present.
I'll move for a mistrial as soon as she leaves the stand.
And I will decide whether your motion has merit, counselor, but not a moment before. Now, take a deep breath and listen to what your witness has to say. You introduced her. Now you get to take your lumps, Mr. Vance. Mr. Cutter, your witness.
Let's ask about her memory.
Miss Conway.
Seems
can
like
you
it's
tell us
only
why
one
you're here
question, so she's
After
just
I
gonna
was shot, my memory was spotty.
tell
But
a
over the
long
years,
story here, I
I've been
bet.
able to put some pieces back together.
And you recently remembered something about the shooting.
I haven't thought about that day in years. I've tried not to. My life was perfect in some ways. There was no
That's
reason
not
to
what
remember.
perfect
But
means.
this trial, it's all coming back.
You can't be perfect in some ways. You have to be perfect in every way. That's
Tell
what
us about
perfect
what you remember
means.
on the day of the shooting.
It was a school day. I went to Harrison's house in the afternoon, like I usually did, but he wasn't there. Mr. Bedford said he sent him on an errand and he wouldn't be back soon. Mr. Bedford knew we had a track meet coming up, so he suggested I take a run in the park while I waited. He would have his driver take me over there. I felt uncomfortable in the house, so I said fine and got changed. As I was about to leave, Harrison came back early. He asked where I was going, and when I told him, he said he wanted to come with me. He was scared about the pregnancy, but protective too. Proud even. So it was just the two of us out for a run. Harrison didn't even bother changing. I remember he had this funny Argyle sweater on.
True or not true? Like, this is the ultimate question you're gonna ask me, whether or not his Argyle sweater was an Argyle sweater? I'm gonna say true. Who cares? The two were known as the preppy joggers. I guess maybe that's where they got their name. Argyle's the choice of all serious runners.
Anyway, we got in the car and Harrison noticed right away. The driver, he was new. Harrison asked him his name and he told us. I remember it because it was a funny coincidence. He had the same name as Harrison's brother, Frank. When Detective Curtis showed me the picture of Frank Vincenzo Jr., I knew what you had done. It wasn't enough you wanted the tramp from the wrong side of the tracks out of your son's life. You wanted me dead, and your unborn grandchild.
No.
What's funny is I think the game glitched when it started playing the music.
Hired to kill me. And he followed us into the park, but then Harrison fought back, protected me. And he ended up paying the ultimate price for your anger. When you realized what you had done, to assuage your dirty, rotten conscience, you took me in, paid my bills, bought my love and loyalty. You bastard!
Miss Conway.
Well, the truth is out, Giles. And now the whole world will know what you are. What you always were. Murderer.
Thank you, Allison. No further questions.
Now, if Allison was the bad guy in this, I don't see how that could be the case. I thought for a second she might have been the bad guy, but she would have to have been a genius, hired the hitman to kill Harrison and shoot her on the side of the head at about age 18 and manipulate everything. It's possible, but it's beyond what I think this story would tell. Because remember, this is Law and Order. The person that looks guilty is guilty. Always. There's no twists or turns. So we're going to get a plea deal?
How long has the jury been out?
6 hours.
No plea deal at all.
Lots of circumstantial evidence. Defense knocked us around pretty good.
Jury likes us.
Sure. But remember, all it takes is one.
One person to undo a decade of police work.
If I don't win this, then there's no way. I'm at 100%.
Thanks, LT. Showtime.
Have you reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
And how do you
We
find...
didn't even see this
On the
juror
count of
up to
murder in
this
the
point.
first degree, we find the defendant, Giles Bedford, guilty.
And on the count of attempted murder?
Guilty.
We thank you for your service. Defendant is remanded
Again,
in
should have been
custody
2
until sentencing.
attempted murders. Get him on trying to kill the baby, too.
Of course. We saw that coming a mile away.
Doesn't matter. You won today, and that's what's important.
And tomorrow, do it all over again.
That's how it worked when I was ADA. But tonight, we celebrate. Dinner's on me.
And are we going to get any more story here? Just kind of a wrap-up?
Hey, Leonard,
Literally no choices
Look, I came out
in
here.
this game at all.
I just wanted to
Either
tell
you succeed or you
we got
fail.
him. After all these years, we got him. It was nice having one last chance to work with you on a case. Funny. It really doesn't seem like that long
I wonder if the actor
but
that
you blink
played
your eyes and
Lenny
everything's different.
Briscoe
People disappear,
died or got too
faces
old.
change. But, well, at least the city is still the same.
I guess he probably hadn't, but maybe.
Anyways, thanks. Couldn't have done it without you, old man.
He may have gotten too old. And then died after they took him off the TV show. And again, I really don't want to show the credits of people that don't deserve it, but we are done here. 7 episodes too long. 5 episodes in an episodic game is the maximum. It seems pretty consistent. I still don't believe in doing episodic game development, though. It is the worst combination of pre-order and DLC combined. Because when you buy the first episode, you're effectively having to pre-order a season pass for the remaining episodes, and otherwise you won't get the full story at all. And every episode after the first episode is effectively DLC to the first episode. Telltale, in particular, the people who have made episodic games a thing, is also the worst at it. Just terrible. They hire different writers for every episode. You can see that's the case here. They probably had one writer doing the preppy jogger line of questions and dialogues, and then had different writers doing episode 1 through 6, and then they mixed and matched it a little bit so it felt like it was somewhat consistent, but it really wasn't consistent enough at all. This game is garbage. It's not worth playing. I don't think the people that like Law and Order play video games. This game was made with the Telltale tool, and it has some major flaws, as you can see, with faces being not animated, backgrounds not being drawn. None of that really is even the Telltale tool's fault. That's just they didn't spend money on it. They were cheap and they wasted it. This could have easily been just a full motion video game where they had the actual actors from Law and Order show up and integrate the questions to it. Oddly, there was a character that never showed up at all in the game, too. Everybody here showed up, but on the law picture, which I don't really have a way of showing, let's see, yeah, there's no way to see the law picture. There was a person on the right with a kind of widow's peak hairstyle, a kind of balding guy. Never showed up in the game at all. Never got mentioned. The good news, I suppose, is you don't have to even make a decision here. This game's not available for purchase. I got it a few years ago, maybe a year or two ago, and as part of the Telltale collection, and they've since taken it off Steam, and it's not available for purchase as far as I can tell anywhere else. So you don't have to make a decision. The decision's made. Telltale didn't think it was worth keeping the license to this game. I agree with them. This game's not really worth playing. It's not as bad as Jurassic Park. It's nowhere as good as The Walking Dead, which was the game after this. I imagine this was done by some small side team to make them a few dollars so that they could do The Walking Dead and do it well, and they did do The Walking Dead and do it well. A lot better. Major improvements compared to this. There are also several CSI games not available that were made by Telltale. I wouldn't play those either. In the end, The Wolf Among Us Season 1 is practically this same game done better. Done a lot better. And that would be the only thing that I would even begin to recommend close to that. That's it for this series. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. When you subscribe, click the notification bell to get notifications. That's helpful too. If you want to friend or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Steam, or Battle.net, all of those links are down below in the description box. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.